The sight of armed National Guard troops patrolling American streets is becoming increasingly common, and it's sparking a heated debate across the nation. Is this the new normal, or a dangerous overreach of federal power? The Trump administration has deployed or threatened to deploy National Guard troops in more than half a dozen cities, labeling them as crime-ridden hotspots. But here's where it gets controversial. While some cities have welcomed the intervention, others have met it with protests, lawsuits, and fierce resistance. And this is the part most people miss. The legal and political battles raging behind the scenes could reshape the role of the military in domestic affairs for years to come. Which cities are in the crosshairs? President Trump has sent thousands of National Guard troops into major cities like Los Angeles in June and Washington, D.C. in August. These deployments marked the beginning of a broader strategy that has continued into September. For instance, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the activation of a federal task force in Memphis, Tennessee, though it's unclear if National Guard troops are part of the effort. Meanwhile, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker revealed that the Trump administration is pushing to deploy 100 troops to Chicago, and the Oregon National Guard is reportedly preparing to send 200 troops to Portland, according to Oregon Public Broadcasting. In Louisiana, Governor Jeff Landry has requested up to 1,000 troops to combat crime in cities like New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has also authorized the state's National Guard to assist with administrative tasks at immigration and customs enforcement facilities. Not all governors are on board, though. Maryland Governor Wes Moore, for example, rejected the idea of troops in Baltimore, opting instead to allocate more state resources to address crime. This divide highlights a larger pattern. Democratic governors are largely opposed to these deployments, while Republican governors are more receptive. Are these deployments even legal? The legality of these actions is a tangled web. The Home Act rule grants the president direct command over the National Guard in Washington, D.C., but the situation is murkier in other states. The Posse Comitatus Act explicitly prohibits the military from engaging in domestic law enforcement without congressional approval. U.S. District Judge Charles R. Breyer ruled that the deployment in Los Angeles violated this act, though the decision only applies to California. Oregon and Portland are seeking a restraining order, arguing that Trump overstepped his legal authority. However, deployments in Republican-led states may face fewer legal challenges, as experts suggest. Georgetown University law professor Rosa Brooks explains, if a governor invites troops from other states, it may not be pointless, but legally speaking, it's not necessarily problematic, as long as constitutional rights are respected. Yet, the broader concern is the normalization of armed troops on U.S. streets, which challenges the long-standing tradition of limiting the military's domestic role. Is this intimidating? Is it chilling to ordinary people? It is, to a lot of people, Brooks adds. The bigger picture, a partisan divide and a shifting norm. The partisan divide is unmistakable. Democratic governors like California's Gavin Newsom, Illinois' J.B. Pritzker, and Oregon's Tina Kotek have vocally opposed the deployments. Newsom called Trump's order to send Marines alongside National Guard troops illegal and immoral, while Pritzker urged Trump to stop using military troops and ICE to invade and disrupt American cities. Republican governors, on the other hand, have largely welcomed the federal intervention. But beyond the politics, legal experts warn of a more profound shift, the normalization of armed troops in everyday life. This raises critical questions. Are we becoming desensitized to the presence of military personnel on our streets? And what does this mean for civil liberties and the balance of power in our democracy? What do you think? Is the deployment of National Guard troops in U.S. cities a necessary measure to combat crime, or a dangerous precedent that undermines civil liberties? Should governors have the final say, or does the federal government have a legitimate role to play? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation that demands diverse perspectives.